Good day to you all listeners. I am Mark Zero, the trusted TTS speaker of Kenneth Lauren of Grade 12 Prudence, with his strand being Humes. As you may have been informed, what we are all about to discuss here is to have a review and overview of my client's community for his subjects, community engagement, solidarity and citizenship, along with creative nonfiction. Now done with our introductions, let's begin your journey on this video, as I discuss everything I have been informed of by my client concerning his own community. Let's begin. Welcome to Fairview. Well, at least to its road landmarks, that is. The entrance to my client's community. It has no official gate, no official exit, and no official name. Heck, everyone just calls it either Ruby or Fairlane when referencing it, as those are the streets covering it. And when being mentioned as a whole, people, including my client, just refers to the area as Fairview. That's right, not north, nor east. Just Fairview. Here on this picture filled with sectored areas, you will see the satellite image of the Fairview my client is on. Now, for safety and security purposes, I would not show nor tell you where my client's home is. What I would tell you is that the area where my client's community is. And it's the area with the color sector, white. The location of this community is aptly on Ruby Street with a segment of Fairlane along it. It is also incredibly close to the La Mesa Water Reservoir and Treatment Plant. When looking upon barangay records, the area, along with other areas, would be regarded as Barangay Fairview, La Mesa, Novaliches District, District 5. If you want me to be direct, head to these coordinates I would flash on the screen for you. Leaving the streets, we enter what most would refer to as a slum area, though unlike other slums, this area instead is sort of self-sustainable. You see what I'm looking at? That's right. It's farmland. The community below that is not connected to the street has that area to use for their needs. With the area being farmland, food issue among the area can be said to have decreased. Of course, the water used to water the farmland also came from the water reservoir via a small waterway called a creek. That creek can metaphorically said to be the life support of the farmland. That said, the key words I said earlier, which is sort of self-sustainable, is still present. Despite being a farmland, the most obvious con is still there. You don't always get harvest from it. So in a way, the area still necessitates external help in times of dire distress. Moving on, let's divulge a bit of history on the area, shall we? Leaning towards publicly available information concerning the history of the area would be the population background of the entirety of Fairview. From the records, it is stated that the population grew from 16,447 in 1990 to 61,813 in 2020. If we lean towards locally, however, there would be stories and mentions of what this location once was. There are two of such stories, by the way. One would be that the area was previously a war zone from when the Japanese attack of the American-controlled Philippines happened. Legibility of this is unconfirmed, but older generations do mention it from time to time. The other one is that this place was a graveyard. Well, a mass graveyard, that is. The reason being was of sightings of ghosts and spirits, as do locals say. Again, legibility of this is of the community's own manner. Proceeding forward, let's talk about some factors that affects my client's community. Now here's something that is actually confirmable, because my client experienced it. The story about this bridges. Those bridges actually has a symbolism to it, because those bridges represents the recent history of the community. Let's begin it with elevation classification. Homes built on the main streets are actually elevated higher than the ones built near the creek. For short, well-structured homes are atop, not so well-structured homes are at the bottom. That in of itself already shows contrast to the slum and suburban area of the community. However, those bridges were the effort of both the slum and the suburban part of the community. In the beginning, the bridge was small. At least one person at a time. And it was made of wood. Then, 2009, Typhoon Ketsana, better known as Typhoon Ondoy, struck. Heavy flash floods had hit the area as La Mesa Dam was overwhelmed, forced to release water of their reservoir. In this point, the farmland was completely flooded and everyone that was below had to go to higher ground. Aptly, the wooden bridge at the time was destroyed. When the typhoon passed, not even an inch had it remain. A few more years passed with typhoons passing by and the bridge being destroyed again. Until the community had enough. Those that were well off from above ground decided that it was time to stop. So, they offered materials. Those materials were rebar, concrete, and iron and some form of steel. The plan? Build a bridge with cooperation from the people living below to finally build a bridge that could withstand heavy flash floods. Lo and behold, everyone unanimously agreed. The plan was delivered into fruition and was done as well and quickly as possible to prepare for the coming storm. The bridge was completed. Now, it can have at least 2 pairs of people passing by at the same time, has a well-built wide central concrete, steel, and iron rebar column foundation and reinforced path locks connected to concrete pathways to keep the bridge from swaying when acted upon by an opposing force. Not long after the test came, Typhoon Yolanda had hit the country and another flash flood came. The bridge was hit. When all has passed and people checked, it stood there proudly, completely unperturbed. Since then, it had itself a couple of upgrades like some iron railings and a concrete water slicer on its column. The story of the bridge truly shows the resolve this community has. Also because everyone ultimately decided that constantly building a new bridge was going to be expensive as time goes on. So economic factors was at play as well. Let's start talking about the dynamics, shall we? But before that, why don't I transfer the spotlight first to my friend Selena?
Hi, Selena here. Thank you for giving me the spotlight, Mark. Follow me first and let's go to my room here in Oyo Spiral Suites. There, don't worry, my client's home is literally just right beside this building. If there's a problem, he'll come over real quick to help us. Now shall we continue where Mark left us of? Let's start the dynamics by talking about the conceptual part of my client's community. The client's community is split among Christians and Catholics. Although there is generally no divide among the people despite this difference. In fact, such differences is not even mentioned at all by the people of the community as the beliefs of both sides does not necessitate conflict. Everyone is to their own as to everyone is to all. In practice, however, only a good amount of people do indeed go and fill the practices that come along their beliefs. Going to church for Sunday Mass isn't even widely followed by. At a high case, people here would generally refer to only praying the rosary more than going to church. The reason? I don't know much myself. But there is an observation that they'd rather not leave their homes, as they have things to do, and pray at certain time intervals instead to make up for it. Proceeding. Remember when I said that they don't leave homes as they have things to do? Well, the next thing I'm going to say actually has a connection to that. Well, sort of that. The white area is the area where the client is. But look at the small extension to the left. Are you reading it right? That's right. It's a school. And since it's a school, the community knows what's best to do. Especially since they are capitalists at heart. They set up shops. Well, generally, the path towards the school, the roads heading for the school, and in front of the school itself. the local community has decided to turn it into a sorry store hub, or something like that. Basically, sorry stores are everywhere. From dedicated shops to integrated homes. Walk 1 block away, and bam! A store. Indeed. My clients' community, being capitalists, are really shining bright. The products delivered by the stores are actually categorized into 2 different things. Seasonal and general. Seasonal refers to selling something like ice cream rolls and slurries. General, on the other hand, refers to selling bread, juices, biscuits, school supplies, and the like. So in a way, the entire sorry store industry of the community adapts to the changes that happens in the area. I mentioned earlier that the community are capitalists at here. That is true. But what's also true is how the community has its own set of values too. Here is a saying that the community follows, which I have already translated for you. There is solace in silence, honor in stillness, respect in tranquility. The community loves and likes being silent, quiet, and still. There are often gushes of wind passing by the area of my client's community. And the sound it makes as the wind hits the trees and rooftops of building is that of a relaxing tone. Everyone loves that tone. The saying I said earlier? That became one of their core values. One time, newbies in the area that entered the community was shocked at how silent the place was. They referred to it as a ghost town due to it. But those that lived within it fully understands why the community loves silence. Moving on. Of course, there is also common hospitality and courtesy. This Oyo Spiral Suites that we are in right now is actually a decent stop for traveling foreigners. These foreigners are witnesses to the courtesy and hospitality of the community we have here. Okay, now we have hit this one. The community's type of leadership and its political status and agenda. Reportedly, the community is leaning more to the right, meaning it's more conservative when it comes to its political agenda and status. Unsurprisingly though, they know they can't always be conservative. Remember the bridge story? Yeah, that was a result for that change. People, despite being more conservative, chose to have a participatory leadership instead. There are many underlying factors as to how this type of leadership came to fruition. But the most common reasons are property, territory, and capability. Those 3 factors became the main issue due to the fact that homes from one neighbor to another is literally a couple inches of wall thick. So when it comes to issues of property and territory, trying to solve that with one perspective of a leader would be a pain, the you-know-what part. Hence, having multiple people take the banner of leadership whenever and however was the most logical reasoning that came about it. For short, more people, more solutions. More solutions means being more helpful. Being helpful means being a good person for the community. That's it. Oh, and I may add. The community, by the way, is functioning as a growth machine. Everyone has a single focus in mind when it comes to fulfilling goals in the community. If everyone sets their mind at it, then that focus can be done in immediately. After that, they can proceed to the next focus they all have in mind. Woo! Tiring, but gotta keep going. Here's the last one. The community is actually filled with very excellent construction workers. You see those homes? Yeah, they were built by the construction people of the community. Remember the bridge? That one too. The people here are really skilled with their hands when it comes to construction work. The reason is that it stems from the fact that one of the most common jobs in the area are that of construction. Naturally, due to how common it is, skills that came with construction also bore fruit. Like electrical wiring and architecture, despite the fact that most of the workers pertaining to the job not having prior experience nor education about it. I know, hard to believe, but it's the truth.
Now that is done. I'll take back the spotlight. Thank you for your presence here today, Selena. Now that I'm the one back, I just tell you some other bits before I send you off to another journey. This local of the country can be what the client most prefer to as a rural area. True, there are more development here and there, but its majority is mostly on the lesser side. Despite that, however, everyone here is interconnected in things. From discussing daily events to neighbor interactions, it can be to what I prefer as a peaceful place. Physical interactions here are also cool too. Sometimes people here are your friends, sometimes your woeful enemy, or just your daily neighborhood person. The expressions of smiles, irritation at neighbors, normal, meh, face, and many more. Much better than emojis, so do I say. Throughout the years here, change in social values between people barely really happened. Besides from having different opinions on political viewpoints, the values Selena said to you earlier barely made a change. If there would be a change, it would probably be to new tenants choosing to live here. The community here has a habit of doing so apparently. Now lastly, what I would tell you is that this place, despite its amazingness at times, isn't all that great. It has its problems too. Like housing ownership, though that's an entirely different matter. There's also the garbage problem and water pipe issues. The garbage problem just somehow can't get fixed externally because there is a school included here in the community, followed by the flurry of sorry stores. Yeah, you can get the image. So the community resorted to cleaning their own spots for the sake of cleanliness for that. The water problem though, even to now, that is still debated and everyone hasn't really found a proper solution. You really can't fix something you can't fully control, and that's the water problem here in this community in the flesh, or in inorganic material. Okay. We are finally done here and there isn't really that much to do here anymore. I already told you everything I know and the client knows, so I guess this is goodbye. Oh, the client gave me money, so before you go, here. Take some drinks I brought for you. Go and fly away to a new place for you to learn into. Bye-bye.